Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing kind of a mid-year check-in. So I'm not going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I think I did that last year. I don't remember. But I kind of took some of the questions from that and then some of the stuff just looking at my spreadsheet, and wanted to share with you kind of trends in my reading as well as where I am in the middle of the year. So let's get started on that. First off, I have my little bullet journal here with my notes in it. So I have read 52 books this year, which was my goal for the year, and it's the halfway point, and I've already read 52 books, so everything from this point on is above goal. I'm kind of shocked I read that many books this year. One of the other statistics in here kind of explains that a little bit, and that is that I have 40% of my books have been audiobooks. So I've been listening to a lot more audiobooks this year than I was in the first half of last year, because I commute to work. It takes about 30 minutes each way or 20 minutes each way, so I listen to audiobooks in the car a lot. So that has definitely upped the amount of books that I've been reading, because I've been doing audiobooks of books I have on my physical TBR to kind of read those down, and that's been great. It's also helped me get to books that I might not have gotten to otherwise and ended up really loving. So audiobooks are my jam this year. I DNF'd 4 books this year. I will put pictures of them here because I can't remember what one of them it was. I know it was The Handsworth Times, The Last Cavalier, and The Terranauts, but I can't remember what the 4th one is. So I'll put pictures of them all right here so that you guys can see that. So then I started the year with about 137 books on my physical TBR. I am now down to roughly 103 or 107. For some reason, my spreadsheet and my Goodreads do not match up. I generally trust my Goodreads more because I'm pretty sure that's going to be every book that I have, that I own, that I've actually added physically to that shelf. I don't know what went wrong on my spreadsheet, but somewhere in there's like 4 books that don't match up exactly. I don't know, but that's pretty good for me. I've got it down about 30 books. I purchased 37 books. I've read 16 of those. I would like to do better on that. I'm trying right now to read the subscription box books that I've received so that I can kind of get an idea of if I want to continue on with those subscription boxes, if I'm liking the books that they have been putting in there in the past. So I am trying to work on that. Another thing I had set for myself was to complete the Muse Monthly challenges, and there were 18 challenges. So far I've completed 14. The ones that I have not completed that I would like your recommendations on, so it's going to be a banned book. I'm having a really hard time with this because, one, I find it hard to really know which books were banned. I know there are a lot of lists through libraries, but you basically have to just like comb through the list, and I get really frustrated. So I haven't been able to find really a banned book to read. Everything that I find that I'm like, oh, I read that last year, or I've already read that. So, and I don't want to reread anything for this challenge list. So please recommend banned books to me in the comments. I would love, love, love to know which ones you recommend. The other is going to be a book made into a film or a TV series. Again, I found that a lot of the ones that either have movies coming out this year or are being turned into TV series, I have actually read already, or are things I'm not super interested in. So I need recommendations for this as well. Right now, the one that I'm kind of thinking about reading is going to be Crazy Rich Asians. It is going to be made into a movie. It's just not going to come out until I think next year, so I'm not sure if it counts. So if you know anything that's coming out this year or has come out this year that's a TV show or a movie, let me know. Again, I've read a lot of the ones that came out this year, so. The next one is book I've been meaning to read forever. One of the books that I have on my list of books I want to get to before the end of the year, I think is going to meet that challenge, and that's I Capture the Castle, because I've had it for a while. I've had my eye on it for a while. I just haven't gotten to it. But if you have books that you've had on your list for a while that you think I should read, recommend those as well. I'm always looking for good recommendations. And then the last one is a book featuring a library. I do have library at Mount Char. I just haven't felt inclined to read it. I have read a lot of books that have bookstores as their kind of central location, but not a lot of books that have libraries as their central location. So if you know more books for that, list those down below too. I would love those recommendations as well. Now, as far as the standout books for this year, I have picked out 3. The first one is going to come as no surprise whatsoever, because when I read it, I was just beside myself, and that is Honor Girl by Maggie Thrash. This is a graphic memoir about a girl who's coming to terms with the fact that she is interested in women, and she is at a summer camp, and it had a lot of resonance with me and my experience kind of coming to terms with and realizing that I had feelings for women, and just really kind of wrapping around my head around what that meant, and then my experience kind of being very timid in that situation. It hit home really hard for me, and I really wish that this had existed when I was a teenager, because I feel like I would have really identified. I know I would have identified with it, but it also would have helped me through a very difficult time in my life. So yes, this is beautiful. The art style is really like kind of simplistic and cartoony, which I like. It's very colorful. It's fantastic. I just absolutely love everything about this, and I will probably reread it before the year is out. The second one, again, is probably going to come as no surprise, because I have been talking about it ceaselessly in the last month, and that is Behind the Throne by KB Wagers, as well as the sequel, After the Crown. Phenomenal sci-fi series. So it's about a princess turned gunrunner who is dragged back to her home planet of Indrana to take over the empire, basically, because her family has been killed. So now she is heir to the throne, and it's about all the political intrigue and assassination attempts, and just her being a general badass, and how her particular skills are what the empire needs at this time. It also has so many great characters who are really well developed. Not just her, but also the side characters are really well developed, and I just can't say enough good things about this book. And the third one is a booktube darling, and that is A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This is fantastic. The characters in this book are amazing, and you just fall in love with them. And it's like, the way I kind of describe this is, this book could be a TV show, because each chapter is like a different episode in like the greater arc of the book, and it's just so good because you're following these people as they are making this long haul voyage to basically make punching a tunnel to a small angry planet that has never had access to the main system. And it's really fascinating, all the little intricacies in this book and the personalities. This is all just very character based, and I feel like there are so many life lessons to be learned in this about people interactions and making judgments, and just, it's beautiful. The writing is beautiful, the characters are beautiful, and I understand now why everybody has been raving about this since it came out, and I cannot wait to get the next one and read it as well. So there are 3 books that are coming out later this year that I am very excited about. The first one is a book written by a really good friend of mine, Melissa. I went to college with her, and the book is coming out in October, or Goodreads says October the 2nd for it, from Entangled Teen, and it is called The Uncrossing, and it's by Melissa Eastlake, and I am so excited about this. It is going to be a male-male romance. It is set in New York City, and it sounds like a lot of kind of political intrigue, but also a romance, obviously, between the 2 characters. It's got fantasy aspects. It's about, they're trying to break a curse on this high-powered family's kind of golden son, it sounds like. But it just has all of these wonderful elements, and Melissa is a wonderful writer, and I'm so excited to read it and for it to come out and for it to take BookTube by storm, because I know it will. It sounds like exactly the kind of thing that BookTube loves to support, so as we get closer, you will hear me talking about this a lot more. The second one is the 3rd book in the Indranan War series by KB Wagers, and it is called After the Empire. And I don't know that I have to say anything except that I absolutely adored the first 2 books, and I cannot wait to see how this trilogy wraps up, and I can't wait to get more of these characters. So that one comes out November the 14th. The third one is called The Djinn City, and it is by Sahad Z. Hussein. He wrote another book that is pretty popular. I will put the cover of that one here. I have not read it. This book comes out in October, on October the 24th, and I've said this a million times, but I am super into djinn stories, and I really have loved the ones that I have read. So I've been anticipating this one since I heard about it, and I actually have pre-ordered it. I kind of hate the cover, but what can you do? It is basically about a boy who finds out that his parents were genies, were jinn, and he's living in this like crumbling mansion in Bangladesh, and it's about how he has to kind of take responsibility. I think his dad's in a coma, and there's some kind of ransom. I'm not really sure. There's a lot going on in the description, but it's a genie story, and I am so there for that. And then I have 3 books that are already out that I want to get to before the year is over. The first I already mentioned, and that is I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. This one is a book that I have had on my TBR for a long time. It is well loved on BookTube and has been recommended to me by a couple of people, and I plan to get to this before the year is out. The next one is going to be really a quartet, and that's the Reinwild Chronicles quartet. I'm going to start this probably in the next week on audiobook, and I cannot wait to get back to the world of the Reinwilds and delve right back into the realm of the Elderlings, because Robin Hobb is magical and I can't wait. The third one is The Essex Serpent by Sarah Perry. I actually am first in line now to receive this from my library hold list. I am looking so forward to this. It came out last year in the UK, but it just came out in the US, which don't even get me started on that. And I have been hearing nothing but praise for this book from so many people, and I've been wanting to read it for so long. I just have not gone out and bought it basically from Book Depository. So I saw that it was on that my library was getting a copy of it, and I jumped on the hold list, and it's coming up at the end of this month. So I'm hopefully going to read that probably around the Booktubeathon, if not before that. But yes, I'm super excited to read that, because from everything I've heard and all the people who have loved it, it's going to be another one that I absolutely adore. I'm just certain of it. And then just taking a look at my statistics sheet, and this may be boring to everybody, and I'm sorry if it is, but I just find this stuff really interesting, and I know there are some of you that really love statistics, but just taking a look at my spreadsheet. So as of the 30th, 40.4% of the books that I read were audiobooks. So like I said, lots of audiobooks. The most read genres for me was actually a tie between sci-fi, fantasy, and general fiction, which surprises me a little. I know I read a lot more sci-fi than I usually do this year, but I was really surprised that those 3 were tied. I figured that historical fiction would be in there, and I kind of thought that fantasy might be higher than that, but surprisingly no. Even split for those 3. I have given 17 books 5 stars this year, which is crazy. I mean, it's definitely due to me reading more books, but I don't know that I gave 17 books 5 stars last year, so yeah. 84.6% of the books I've read have been written by female authors. I know I tend to skew towards female authors pretty heavily. I did not realize it was quite that high. So pretty much, I mean, not pretty much, definitely the majority of my reading is female authors. Now, most of the books I have read this year have been written in English and by Americans, and that's something I really want to work on. So if you have translated books or books written by authors in other countries that are other than the US and the UK, I would really appreciate your recommendations, because I need to branch out. I have books on my shelves that are definitely written by other in other languages and by other countries, but I just haven't been getting to them, so I'm going to try to focus more on that in the second half of the year. And then, like I said, I acquired about 37 new books, and 16 of those I have read. So it's been a good reading year so far, and I hope it continues. My battery light is flashing fiercely because I can't tell you how long it took to film this. But yes, so please leave your recommendations for all of those things in the comments, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.